thank you so much for coming and having this little heartstorming. And that always sounds so bad. Heartstorming, negative, but you know, we have to ride the storm. I think we need to find ways to ride that. It's like the whitewater that I keep talking about, the whitewater in the river of time. And this is a time, and this is a vision or an image that came to me in talking to John Raymer, is that this is a time for joining hands and creating a raft, a large raft, in order to ride the whitewater. And in my mind, I imagine that whitewater, or the raft, becoming large enough that we manage to calm the whitewater.
I like that. I like that because that's very much the sense that I get as well as this everyone converging, a convergence of healers. Absolutely. Interesting. And I loved that last night in the what was actually the middle of the day for me. We met at noon. Someone else was at midnight. People from all over the world, but we were talking about how the new energy of the world, the new consciousness of the world, will be coming into. Let me think about this because I really haven't talked it through very much. The new consciousness of the world, this collective consciousness, will be birthed into a world of water, which was really fascinating. It sort of stepping out of matter, like earth, solid, and more into this water, which is cleansing, which is emotional, which can be very tumultuous, right? So it was interesting that you bring that up.
And this is an unplanned Zoom. I want to honor the inspiration that has brought us together here. And I also want to honor John Raymer and his emergent ideas. He has spoken to me about AI, and he speaks about AI and how AI could be our companion, and how it can help us to find a good way forward, and that I imagine that I want help, man. I don't have a human brain big enough to hold all of the things that are going on right now, and I don't want them. I don't want AI to take over the excitement of navigating this white water. I want so much to be a part of it and to stay on top of it and not get swamped by all that's going on. And how can I do that? And I imagine somebody wanting to hear this conversation that is so, from my perspective, it's cutting edge. But how are they going to know what they're going to listen to? And if it gets out of hand and it ends up being 45 minutes, they're not going to want to watch it. And I don't know what it's going to end up being.
I mean, you're right. It could go off the rails, but I think we are in a moment of chaos. And do you know that moment of chaos where just before everything comes together, you think it's all falling apart, and you're like, "My God, I can't handle this. It's not coming together. I don't know what to do." And then, like the next day, oh, it all just falls together. This is the moment that we're at. It's very chaotic and very overwhelming, and you can't continue to do what you've done before. You have to do something slightly different, or maybe very different. And we're right there. We're right there. It's very exciting and also very scary for some.
Yeah. Trying very hard. Well, no. I am allowing the flow to take me forward because I know I am not one of the ones that is holding on to the bank of the river of time as we slide down this chute. But I've been getting, my inbox. Let me talk to you about my inbox. Now,
Okay.
being associated with Humanity Rising, and interacting with all of the people in the after chat, and all of, and we're all so passionate about what we are now talking about, and we don't quite know what we're talking about, but each one of us has an image or a vision of the future that has come to us through our lives, and we have
Mhm.
fought for our ground and held to our conviction that the better way is just waiting for us. And if I could have my vision come true, everything would be okay. And it cannot be that way. And yet
Yeah.
it, yeah, yeah, each one of our visions needs to be honored and given
Yes.
space. And we need to be allowed to say, okay, my ground can shift a little. And if we all kind of shift a little, like the Our Heart Gardens idea, like
Mhm.
I am so convinced about it. And the the name Our Heart Gardens came to me through Mom, the magic in ordinary moments, and it didn't come because I said, oh, let's call it this. It was given to me. And so I'm kind of attached to it. And what's true is that I don't care what they call it. What
Right.
I really desperately want is for the shelter and the medicine of Mother Earth to be provided to the people that are living in the cities who are alone. And I think of the bacteria who got together in time aeons and billions of years ago, and they got together because they were lonely and overworked,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
got together and they created plants where they shared the load, and cells were differentiated into different uh, jobs, and uh, oh my God, look what they did to this gorgeous planet.
Well, look what they did to us, right?
And then of course too many plants, and how do you use that resource? And so yeah, the plants got tired of standing in one place and they wanted to get around, and so the cells got together in a different way and started moving around, and
Yeah.
so th- what is it that is being called for in this now time?
Okay. So three things. Three things. Remind me to talk about the conversation that happened today, which a few stories ago you triggered me to talk about. And then we talked about water, and then and what is it now? What is it now is that it's time to listen and act. It's no longer time to learn and prepare. It's time to listen and act, which then brings me to my story about this morning, which is why I called you. And the magic in ordinary moments. I If you just listen, and in the last 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I have been intentionally listening and intentionally trying not to say no. Not necessarily to say yes, but also not to just say no, I'm not, I'm not ready, I'm too busy, I'm too whatever, but to be open to what would it mean if I did this. So This morning, I went to a bookstore to see a friend of mine who I haven't seen in many years, to ask her to carry my book, which was lovely. But what came of that is she had readers in the back end of the store. And as I was walking around while she was dealing with some customers, one of the readers, because they're a team, his voice just caught my ear, and it was like, you need to introduce yourself to this person. And I was like, I don't know this person. Why do and I didn't even think about it. He stepped out of the room and I walked into his face and said, hi, I'm Lisa. What's like, I don't know why I'm supposed to introduce myself to you. I am not your next client. I know you need to meet someone. I know that you're busy, but I'm supposed to meet you. So let's just talk through this. And he was open to that. And as we chatted, it came to mind that he is a healer, and as healers at this couple, or I don't know that they're a couple, this team, um, they are healers as well in a different way than I am a healer. And I was meant to invite them to come and join this conversation. And what blew my mind is that his partner's name is Lisa, and she had gone to the bathroom. And when she came back to say, oh, who's this, he introduced me to her, and he told her what I said, and she nearly fell over. She's like, we had a vision that someone would come to ask us about this just last night. And like the goosebumps. Like, and at that point I was like, okay, I cannot say no to this anymore. So let us backtrack. Last night, you sent me an email from a contact of yours who essentially was saying the same thing. Us healers, us light workers, whatever you want to call us, those of us who have been put here to make a difference and help make the shift, whatever we call ourselves. Now is the time to act. The same message came through in the email that you sent me from your friend last night. Backtrack a few hours before that, I attended, and the only reason I attended that full moon circle was because I was sick. Am I sick today? My throat's a little scratchy because I coughed a lot yesterday. I'm not sick today. Yesterday, I was sick as a dog. I was so tired. I could not keep myself busy moving forward. I had to stop and rest and listen. And I had made a note, if by any chance I have time to go to this meeting, I'm going to show up at this meeting. This meeting was their last meeting. They will not meet again in the way that they met yesterday. And at that meeting, I've never seen a meeting run this way. What a beautiful way to run meetings. They had one woman who was, we'll call her the facilitator, and she just listened to her intuition. Who's supposed to speak now? Who has the right message now? Who has the right question now? And she would just call upon whoever via the tool that she was using was called upon. And I'll only talk about what I experienced because I don't know the rules of the group, so I don't want to interfere. But when we were called to call in energy that would influence the meeting, everyone else was calling in these wonderful things, which is beautiful, but not at all what I was envisioning. And I said, all I'm envisioning is Demeter in her extremely pregnant form, ready to give birth. The meeting is 2 hours long. An hour later, the facilitator says, okay, Demeter's ready to come in and talk. She called upon a woman to channel Demeter in her laboring form. What are you birthing now? And she says, Lisa, what's Demeter birthing? And I was like, collective consciousness. This is what she's birthing right now. She says, Demeter wants to speak to you. You can ask her questions. And I was like, what? I said, "How can I help you? We're here now. And you are birthing. What am I supposed to do?" Backtrack a little bit more. We have been meeting all these wonderful new people, all who are at least a decade older than me, who have done amazing things in the world. And they all have these great elevator speeches. And I think to myself, I've not done any of that stuff. I'm not like these people. I'm not worthy to be, right? So for the last week, I've been working on like this life purpose statement. And when I asked to meet her, how can I help? She literally read back that statement to me. And the next question was, how do I do this? And I had 2 paragraphs, 1 paragraph of what I'm supposed to do, and 1 paragraph of how I'm supposed to do it. And the second paragraph, this complete stranger read back to me basically. And the final question was, like, why me? Like, what? What? And she says, well, you know the answer to that. You came here. You know the answer. We are the way showers. I have no idea what that term means, but apparently that's what I am. We are the way showers. And that has always, I thought, been my life purpose, to open gates, to show the way, to, did you know about this? Have you heard about that? And yeah, so it's been a very amazing, we'll say 3 weeks, but really 48 hours of like, get your shit together, Lisa, let's go. So there you go. So I don't know where this is going to take us, but clearly I've got to take it somewhere.
Yeah, clearly.
And you want to know one last thing? That group, I have no idea how I found them. I asked them how I could find them again. They didn't tell me. I tried to find them again. I can't find it. They dropped into my life and pulled back out just for this message.
Well, talk about dropping in. Here is the divine masculine.
Well, okay. I didn't really mean to get into your, I was trying to figure out how to get my startup key back again. I had,
Well, welcome.
yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, when I open Zoom, I'm supposed to have 3 recurring messages, 3 recurring meetings that I could join. The one for this one disappeared, and I don't know how to restore it. And so I went to a old Zoom announcement, that I make every day and I clicked on that. And so here I am. And I forgot you guys were here.
That's okay, darling. And I think actually this is an invitation to stop the recording. What do you think, Lisa?
Oh,
well,
sure.
Do I?
No,
Okay.
Stan, you don't know what's been going on here. And
don't know
we'll
what's
tell
going
you after this recording is stopped, okay?
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know if I have the power to